Yo, what's going on, guys? Bobby here, and today we are back with another tier list video. So I'm going to be going over the tier list for February 2025. I'm also going to do things a little bit differently this time. Instead of showing brawlers one by one to make this a not hour-long video, I'm just going to do rarities at a time. You guys are going to understand once I start listing them, but let's get into it. So the only starting brawler in the game is Shelly, and she is going to go into the C tier. Shelly just isn't that good unless it's Brawl Ball at the moment, and even then there are a lot better choices in Brawl Ball. She is pretty good though in that mode. She counters tanks, so you can definitely get work done. But outside of Brawl Ball at low trophies, I probably wouldn't suggest playing Shelly anywhere. Next, we have the rare brawlers. There's only 8 of them because, I don't know, I guess there's just not that many rares in the game. And this is how I'm going to have them placed. So Nita is going to be in the A tier because Nita is actually pretty versatile. You can use Nita in Gem Grab. You can use Nita in Heist with the Hyper Bear. You could obviously use Nita in Brawl Ball, and you could even push it and use Nita in some hot zone maps as well. The Hyper Bear is just very strong, and there's no reason why Nita should ever be below A tier on anyone's tier list. I'm going in order of rarity in game, so next I'm going to be talking about Colt. Colt is basically only good on Brawl Ball and Heist, but that's one more mode than Shelly has, so I'm going to give him a little bit higher of a tier. He's very, very good on Heist, like very strong. He just does so much damage, and Heist games just seem so fast now. High damage brawlers are very important to have. Next up, we have Bull. He's kind of a one-trick pony. You can really only play Bull in Heist unless you're Pika, of course. I've said this about every tier list. Brock, he's a little bit more flexible. You could play Brock in Brawl Ball, Gem Grab, Heist, Knockout, Bounty, but he doesn't really seem to be the best option in any of those modes. He is pretty good at low trophy marks though, like from 300 to about 700. Brock is pretty strong, so I'm going to leave him in the B tier because he's pretty good on a few different modes, but he's not that great anywhere, so I'm just going to keep him in B. Next up, we have Primo. Primo, again, only really good on Brawl Ball, just like Shelly, so Primo is going to be stuck in the C tier. His Hyper isn't very good, his gadgets aren't very good, and honestly, his star powers aren't very good either. He's just a very good goal scorer in Brawl Ball, and that's about it. Next, we have Barley, and Barley is easily one of the 3 best throwers in the game. I was very tempted to put Barley in the S tier, but I don't want to stack my S tier too much. I want to be very specific with the brawlers I put up there, but Barley's going to be a very high A tier brawler, and he is super strong on both Hot Zone and Heist. Like very, very, very meta in those modes. I forgot Poco, but Poco's going to be in the B tier as well. He's a very strong healer, but he doesn't do a lot of damage. So if there's brawlers like Bull, Rosa, or Primo, to name a few on the map, Poco's not killing those brawlers. He's only going to be charging their hypers and their supers. And you have to play more of a support / backup role as Poco. You don't really have that damage output, so he's going to be in the B tier for me. And the last rare brawler we're going to have is Rosa. I love Rosa. I'm such a fan of Rosa, but Rosa is going to stay in the C tier because she needs a little bit of a buff. I actually think she has one of the stronger hypers in the game. It just, for whatever reason, feels like she isn't very good right now. I don't know why, but I'm hoping to see a small buff soon. Next, we're going to be talking about the super rare, which again, there aren't too many super rares in the game, only 10. Starting off with Jessie. Jessie is actually pretty strong on a couple different modes at low level, very similar to Brock, where you can play her as a Gem Grab mid, you can play her on Brawl Ball, Hot Zone, and even Heist. So there is definitely a lot of modes you can play Jessie in, especially at low level, but the higher level you get, the worse Jessie gets, 100%, and she just isn't really the best pick in any situation the higher up in trophies you get. But out of respect for her being so good at low level, we're going to give her the B tier. Next, we're going to talk about Dinah, and Dinah is very strong on Heist. Dinah is very strong on Hot Zone, and you can definitely make Dinah work on Brawl Ball. Plus, on top of that, Dinah has one of the best hyper charges and gadgets in the game. So Dinah is actually a really good brawler. The only issue is his weaknesses are so glaringly obvious. Like if you're facing a Mortis or an Edgar or a Miko or anything of that sort, Buzz, Kenji, to name a couple more, you're just going to lose automatically unless you're just the GOAT Dinah, because he can't overcome his weaknesses. Usually good brawlers can overcome their weaknesses. Dinah is definitely not one of them. Next, we have Tick, and Tick is just kind of like a mid knockout and bounty thrower. Like he's a very safe brawler. I like him when I'm playing in esports. We run Tick a lot in esports because he's just very safe and very easy to play. But he doesn't do anything special. His hypercharge is okay, but not the strongest. I don't really have too much to say about Tick. 8-Bit up next, and 8-Bit's going to be one of our A-tier brawlers 100% because he is so strong in Heist and so strong in Gem Grab right now. You just have to give respect to 8-Bit and give him that high tier. Like I said with Colt, Heist is just so fast of a game these days. You can get one 8-bit turret and just do 70% with your teammates. So fast. It's absolutely unbelievable. And then obviously as a gem grab mid, 8-bit is very strong because you can teleport back to your turret and be safe with all the gems. So definitely A tier for the 8-bit today. Okay, Rico was not supposed to be in the C tier. I guess he was just existing there for a second. But Rico is going to go into the S tier. He is a very strong brawler, especially on gem grab, brawl ball, and hot zone. Definitely playable on Heist and even a couple bounty maps as well. The gadget that did damage is what made Rico so good before, and I mean that gadget does still exist, but it has been nerfed twice. Thank you very much, Brawl Stars. But on the maps where Rico is strong, there's just like nothing you can do about it. Like Rico on Hard Rock Mine, unless you're basically playing Larry or Juju, it's just an automatic win for Rico. It's so easy. In any bouncy map, Rico just has such an advantage. And we haven't even begun to talk about the hypercharge, which is one of the best hypers in the game. You don't even have to be on Rico's screen, and you're probably going to die with those balls bouncing around the map. Next up, we have one of probably the 3 best tanks in the game in Daryl. Like I've said in previous tier list videos, as long as Daryl has 2 rolls, he's going to be very strong. Because the mobility he has with those 2 rolls, he can just cover so much ground. Even though his hypercharge kind of sucks, the 2 rolls make up for it. And I honestly think Daryl is perfectly balanced right now. And I forgot Penny, but now that we have remembered about Penny, she's going to go into the A tier. Just like Nita, where she's very versatile and you can play her on gem grab, Heist even, Brawl Ball, and Hot Zone. Penny's just a very good control brawler, especially with that hypercharged turret. And if you know how to properly use that barrel to do proper damage and body block shots, Penny is just way too dangerous right now. Then we have Carl. Carl's just not that good right now. He definitely needs a hypercharge. I'm kind of hoping that Carl's hypercharge is an immunity to stuns and knockbacks, because that would just make Carl one of the most insane brawlers in the game. Like that would really take Carl from C tier to possibly S tier. But we're just gonna have to wait and see if that actually does happen. But for now, C tier brawler, because any type of stun, any type of knockback, any type of jump just basically completely makes Carl useless. And there are way better brawlers in every scenario rather than playing Carl. Our second last super rare brawler is going to be Jackie. And when I put Jackie in the lower tier before, I got a little bit of pushback, which I knew was gonna happen. There are some brawlers that are very strong at low level, Brock, Jesse, Jackie, and Grom, to name a few, that players think are very strong, but once you get a little bit higher level, you realize like Brock and Jesse's shots, they're very slow. Jackie has 0 range. Grom shots are very easy to juke. So yeah, I understand at low level, Jackie is very strong on Brawl Ball and maybe even Gem Grab, but at any level that is not 500 trophies or 700 trophies, Jackie is just not good. She has no range, and her speed gadget probably needs some type of buff, because I just don't think it's good enough to get her within range as she should be able to. The hypercharge is pretty good though, don't get me wrong, but it's just so easy to stay far away from a Jackie and not give her a hit that I just don't really know how you can rate her any higher than C. And last but not least, we have Gus in the S tier. I was like the #1 Gus hater. I've kind of come around a little bit to Gus. I still think a lot of players do overrate Gus because they say Gus is a top 5 or top 10 brawler. I still disagree with that, but Gus is very good. He's definitely S tier, very good gem grab mid, very good on knockout, and very good in bounty. And you have to give respect where respect is due, so S tier for Gus. So next up we have Epic, and it's kind of insane how many more Epic brawlers there are than rare and super rare brawlers. Like there were a lot that got added to this list, so be prepared. But here we go, the updated list that we have right now, starting off with Bo. So Bo's gonna go into the C tier. Again, another brawler that's really good at low level. Like I get it. I can't juke bow mines just like you guys, but for some reason everyone else can juke the bow mines, and besides the bow mines, Bo sucks. It's literally the only good thing about Bo is the mines. Like I love Bo, believe me, I actually really enjoy playing Bo, and he's very fun to play. He's just not good right now, and he's not deserving of anything above a C tier. The only place you can really play Bo is a gem grab mid right now, or I guess Snake Prairie. Then we have Ems. Again, Ems is going to be in the C tier, just not a very strong brawler at all right now. Definitely way better anti-tank options at every single map or every single choice, every single option, every single place you can play Ems, there's a way better choice. Also, if you run out of Ems knockbacks or you're playing shoot through wall, Ems is literally just useless. So the hypercharge knockback does help, but the hypercharge isn't even that good. It's basically just +1 knockback, and I don't know. I'm just not a fan of Ems right now. Next up, we have our first S+ tier brawler, Stu is just so amazing on so many maps. Hot Zone, Brawl Ball, and Gem Grab. Stu is just the king of those modes right now. And you can ask any pro, Stu will be at the very, very top of their tier list. Stu is just so insane because of that hypercharge. I said it last tier list video, but the reason that Stu is so good is because Stu's weakness is low damage. Which, if low damage is his weakness, that means comps that have high health normally beat Stu. But now that Stu has an insane hypercharge, if you're facing a comp that has high health, then Stu is going to get 2 insane hypercharges a game, which is usually going to be enough to win the game. So yeah, it basically feels like Stu has no weakness right now. Stu is insane, probably needs a nerf. Next up, we have my girl Piper. I love Piper, but she's A tier. She has gotten nerfed a couple times, and you can feel it. She's not very strong right now. I mean, she's always going to be really good because she does a lot of damage, and it's not too difficult to hit her shots, but I mean, just not good enough right now. Probably needs a little bit of a buff to get back into the top of the sniper meta, but she's still very insane, and I love her all the same. Then we got Pam. I am dying for a Pam buff or a Pam hypercharge, please, in this next Brawl Talk. Like, I know there's got to be a Brawl Talk soon. Give Pam a hypercharge. Like, the game is honestly fun when Pam is good. There's a lot of damage, a lot of shots being flown around, a lot of heals. Like, that's just the fun Brawl Stars that I know and love. And until Pam gets a hypercharge, it just doesn't feel like she's going to be very usable. Then we have another one of the best 3 tanks in the game in Frank. That is going to be in the A tier. He was S+ before, then he fell off to S. Now he kind of fell off to A tier, but he's still a very good tank. Very much a threat on the battlefield, and like you guys know, when you get him low damage, he's just absolutely insane. Play Frank in Brawl Ball or in Hot Zone, and you're probably going to win 90% of your game. Then we're going to talk about BB, and BB is probably one of the closest brawlers to the D tier as there can be. I actually think BB's hypercharge is pretty good and fits BB pretty well. She just doesn't fit in the meta right now. I think it's because her gadgets aren't really that helpful. I mean, the gadget that gives her HP is good, and this is just another example of a brawler that's really good at low level. To be honest, the way Brawl Stars balances the game is they look at both high level and low level. And when you're looking at brawlers that are very strong at low level, like BB, like Grom, like Bo, like Jesse, like Jackie, that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be good at high level, but that means that Brawl Stars can't buff those brawlers because then they're just going to become the most insane brawlers ever at low level. So, I mean, BB's good at low trophies, but in high trophies, BB's useless. If you want to play BB, though, you could definitely push her decently high in Heist or Brawl Ball. But once you get high enough, you guys are going to realize how difficult she is to play. Next up, we have B, and B's going to slot into the B tier. So funny, haha. B just seems to always be in the B tier because she's not good enough to be played in Knockout or Bounty for the most part. She's more so like a sniper anti-tank that you could play in Brawl Ball or Hot Zone, in Gem Grab, maybe even Heist. And I think she's perfectly balanced and she's where she should be in the B tier. Now we're going to talk about Nani, who's also in the B tier. Just one of the most annoying little rats in the game. Like, I just hate that gadget so much because there's no outplay to it. Nani is like the king of all snipers. Like, if you made a list of what sniper beats what sniper, Nani would always be at the very top of that list just because of that one gadget, which is annoying because I'm a sniper main and I basically play every single sniper besides Nani. So, like, let's just delete Nani from the game. But for real, Nani's very strong in Knockout and Bounty, and I would 100% suggest pushing Nani there because it's just free trophies. Next up, we have Edgar, and Edgar is a decent assassin only because of the hypercharge. Let me make sure you guys understand, only because of the hypercharge. Like, the hypercharge is insane. It's basically a guaranteed 2 kills. But besides that, Edgar's not really the best unless you have free matchups. So it just kind of depends on what you're loading into. But Edgar's kind of a beast on Heist, so I would suggest pushing Edgar in Heist. Then we have Griff. Griff is an insane brawler right now. For whatever reason, it just feels like Griff is really strong. Griff is good into snipers, kind of, because he has that star power that lets him get HP back while shooting. Griff is obviously good into tanks, and he's also pretty good into throwers because it's pretty difficult for any thrower to take Griff out with that star power, allowing him to always heal. So Griff just feels really annoying right now, and he's kind of turning into one of those brawlers that I fear when he gets hypercharge is going to be one of, if not the best brawler in the game. Then we have Grom, and I know there's going to be a lot of people saying Grom Bomb is good in Bounty and Knockout. And look, guys, it is. There's nothing wrong with Grom. He's just not very good at high level, and I'm trying to base this at least somewhat high level. Like, it's not an esports tier list, but it's not a 300 trophy player tier list as well. The Grom Bomb is good. The regular shots are horrible. I've played with my brother on my mini account. I understand how good Grom is. But if we're talking for real, outside of that Grom Bomb at the end of Bounty or Knockout games, or unless you're spraying that gadget onto the heist safe, Grom is useless. You know what? I'm going to move Grom to the B tier before I get any complaints. He's fine in Bounty. He's fine in Knockout. He's not the greatest at high trophies, but whatever. You guys win this round. Bonnie. Bonnie. Where do we even begin about Bonnie? Honestly, it's Bonnie, so who cares? Let's just not even begin. Next up, we got Gale, and Gale did have the greatest hypercharge in the game. Now he doesn't. It's one of the 3 or 4 or 5 best hypercharges in the game, but it just feels like Gale kind of fell off. And he's just a mid B tier brawler right now, but that's fine because that means he's balanced, as all brawlers technically should be, and I'm happy with that. Next up, we have Colette, and Colette is one of the best anti-tanks in the game and also one of the 3 best heist brawlers in the game as well. So you guys already know about that Colette hypercharge, what it does to safe. It's an absolute menace. But Colette also just absolutely shreds tanks like it's nothing. So if you like playing high damage brawlers that do absolutely crazy work, I would 100% recommend playing Colette. Outside of Brawl Ball and Heist though, she isn't too good. So I would definitely keep within those 2 modes if you want to push your Colette. Next up, we're going to talk about Belle, which is going to be in the B tier, and she's very similar to B, where she's on the lower end of the sniper food chain when it comes to sniper v sniper, but you don't really want to play Belle when you know you're going to face another sniper. You want to play Belle when you want to like counter tanks and mid-range brawlers and stay further away. Very similar to a B. Some people prefer B because the 4K shot does a lot of damage. Some people prefer Belle because Belle has that hypercharge plus the mark plus the traps. I personally like Belle a little bit more, but I understand why some people like B. You can play Belle in Bounty and Knockout for sure. I would just probably stay away from it because Piper 2 taps, Nani 2 taps, Angelo 2 taps, Gus is probably a little bit better. She's just not the greatest when it's sniper v sniper, but any other time I do really like Belle. Now we're going to talk about my boy Ash, who has made his return to the A tier. You guys all know that when he got his hypercharge, I've been saying it, when he gets his hypercharge, he's going to be good because it's all about speed for Ash, and that hypercharge gives him speed. It gives him extra rats. It's just so easy to play Ash right now. I love Ash so much. I hope you guys do too. A tier for Ash. He's very good in Gem Grab, very good in Brawl Ball, and that's honestly about it, but that's good enough. Then we're going to talk about Lola. Lola's a pretty sneaky good brawler. Lola does a good amount of damage, and I'm actually kind of having Lola grow on me a little bit when it comes to how good she is. I'd probably give her C before, but I'm going to definitely respect her game and give her the B tier right now. She's like kind of similar to a Belle, where you want to pick her into like mid-range brawlers such as Griff or Nita or Macy, for example, and just have a little bit more range and play from a little bit further, which is fine. It's just a little bit interesting, her play style, because it's very chip. Like, it's very like constantly hitting someone for low damage. Like, you can definitely clip someone for high damage, but I don't know. She's just an interesting brawler. The gadgets aren't too good. The star powers aren't too good. I think the hypercharge is going to make or break Lola. Like, it's either going to make Lola an S tier brawler or just have her permanently stuck in the B or C tier. We're going to find out soon, though. Then we have Sam, and similarly to BB, Sam is pretty close to that D tier. He isn't in the D tier because there are a lot of high-skill Sam players, and those players are absolutely insane with Sam. So when I see what Sam can actually do in the hands of a good player, I'm like, okay, he's definitely not on the same level of Bonnie and Hank. But a lot of people aren't really that good at Sam. They're only good at throwing their gloves, clicking the pull gadget, and getting a kill. But honestly, that's enough to keep him out of the D tier. So, I mean, good enough. Mandy's going to be next, and Mandy's going to be in the B tier. Like, Mandy's okay. She's definitely an A or S tier brawler in Knockout or Bounty, but every mode isn't Knockout or Bounty. And if you're playing Mandy on any mode that isn't Knockout or Bounty, then you're throwing the game. No one cares that you got 6 kills and 1 death. You're not doing anything besides sitting in the back of the map. So just stick to Knockout and Bounty, and Mandy is a good brawler. Next up, we got Macy, and Macy's going to be in the S tier. Guys, Spen finally came around to Macy. Like, Macy is a very strong brawler, like a very, very, very strong brawler. A little bit difficult to hit shots, I understand, but that's why it's only 4 shots to get a super. Obviously, you guys have the dash gadget, So if you guys can't hit any shots with Macy, then literally just walk right up to your opponent, like 1 tile away, dash in their face so that they get stunned, and just spam the auto aim button, and you're going to hit every shot and do a ton of damage and get the kill every time. It's not that hard, Spin. Come on. Now we're going to be talking about the Fish, and honestly, Fish is just not a good brawler. Like, I hope he doesn't get buffed, because a Fish buff would break the game, but he's just not good. And just like Doug, he deserves to be a brawler that's in the D tier. He's purely played for fun, and that's how it should be with the Fish. Then we got Pearl, and I'm going to put Pearl at the bottom of A tier just because of how flexible Pearl is. You can play her in Bounty, Knockout, Hot Zone, Gem Grab, Brawl Ball. The only one you really can't play Pearl in is Heist, because she doesn't really do that much damage, and her Hypercharge doesn't really help her do that much damage. But besides that, Pearl is really, really good and very flexible, and I actually like Pearl Super, even though a lot of people don't, because no one like a Carl or an Edgar or any aggro brawler can just kind of jump into your face or roll into your face, because you just have a crazy super that knocks them back. So Pearl's really good. Low A tier for sure. Then we got Larry, and Larry's been nerfed maybe 20 times, and he's never been below the S tier, which is probably the craziest stat of all time. Like, I know you guys remember Larry release. That was the worst time in Brawl Stars besides, like, right now, because Buzz Lightyear is ruining the game. Jokes aside, Larry is just such a good thrower. Definitely the best thrower in the game, as long as it's not Knockout or Bounty. Larry's only weakness is he doesn't have that much range. So on those modes that do require a little bit more range, I would just avoid playing Larry there. Then we have the best sniper currently in the game, Angelo. Angelo's just insane. Like, the fact that Angelo can walk on water and shoot through walls and jump and be fast on water, like, there's just a lot about Angelo that's good. I personally think Angelo's strong because you can just hold down the auto aim button. I've taught you guys multiple times how to do this. So if you're saying, what are you talking about? Then you should watch more of my videos. But you can just hold down that auto aim button, run right up to somebody's face, let go of the auto aim button, and bam, 4,000 damage. Like, that's just crazy. No other sniper can do that. No other sniper can do that much damage from that close, I guess, besides Nani. But it's a little bit different. You guys just got to understand. So Angelo is insane. You can play Angelo on literally any single mode in the game. That's what puts Angelo at the S tier. And the Hypercharge just perfectly fits Angelo, where you just walk around on water, on land, wherever, while getting healed, while doing poison damage. It's just absolutely insane. 100% S tier for Angelo. Then we got Barry, and I've told you guys Barry is a sneaky good brawler. Barry is the king of Hot Zone with all those heals and just the fact that he's a thrower, so a lot of brawlers can't really deal with him. He also has this like weird knockback where he swipes you in the air. Like, Barry is very strong, and the fact that you at least get 2 hypercharges a game is absolutely just unrealistic, unfathomable, just like way too good. It definitely needs a nerf. Barry's only really good though on Hot Zone, Gem Grab, and obviously Heist, so I would avoid playing him anywhere else, but he is an absolute demon on those modes. Next up we have Shade, and I feel like Shade is a very misunderstood brawler right now. Shade is exactly like Cord, where Cord is good into tanks and throwers, so is Shade. Shade, the way you're supposed to play Shade is you're supposed to get your super off of a tank and then go bully some thrower or some sniper that can't deal with you. I feel like people still have a lot to learn about Shade, but B tier for me. You can honestly play Shade anywhere. It just depends on the brawlers, not the map, but I would avoid playing Shade on Knockout and Bounty 100%. And then finally, for the epic brawlers, we have Meeple. I'm going to put Meeple into the C tier for now because I haven't seen enough, but I honestly think Meeple can make it out and make it into the B or A tier. We just have to figure out a little bit more with Meeple before we give the respect that's needed. All right, so now we're going to be going into the Mythic Brawlers, which is the second last rarity in the game. And we're going to be starting off with Mortis. He is going to be right in the B tier. I mean, Mortis is just one of the best assassins in the game right now. The Hypercharge is so strong. I actually think it's a top 3 Hypercharge in the game. And honestly, I would say Mortis is an A tier, but I'm not trying to get your randoms to play more Mortis. So I'm going to say B tier, but low-key, you could probably sneak in the A tier. Mortis is very good on Gem Grab because you could steal the gems. Good on Brawl Ball. Honestly, can work in Bounty, although I wouldn't suggest it. I would honestly just stick to the first 2 modes that I said. Next, we're going to talk about Tara. Tara is going to be a B tier brawler. Honestly, nothing against Tara. She's just totally matchup dependent. If you face 3 brawlers, that don't shoot through her pets. So let's just say Piper, Daryl, and Shelly. I don't know what map anyone will be running Piper, Daryl, and Shelly, but you can just use your pets, completely block every shot for the most part, and Tara will just absolutely go crazy. But if you're facing like Amber, for example, Tara is just completely useless outside of maybe the one pull you're getting a game. So it's just totally matchup dependent. She can either be a S tier brawler or a D tier brawler. It just depends what you're facing. Next up, we have Jean, and Jean has been S tier for a very long time. The healing star power is one of the best star powers in the game. Jean is obviously one of the best mids in the game in gem grab. And then obviously he's super strong in knockout and bounty. So Jean is probably forever going to be in this S tier. It's just how it is. Next up, we got Max, and Max could like maybe be an S+ tier brawler, but he's going to stay in the S tier. He's very team-based. That's the thing. Like if you're going in with randoms, Max might not be the best, because if you have like a thrower on your team or a bee on your team or something like that, like you're not going to get a lot of value out of Max. But you can make crazy brawlers work on maps where they shouldn't work because you have max speed and that max hypercharge. So I love Max. Probably the best support brawler in the game with Jean and Barry. Easily S tier. Then we're going to go from S tier all the way down to the bottom to the D tier and talk about Mr. P. Mr. P needs a hypercharge so bad. I think he's getting a hypercharge. I think it got leaked or something. I'm not 100% sure, even if I'm allowed to say that, to be honest. But I swear I saw a leak on Twitter that said Mr. P was going to get a hypercharge. I hope he does, because that would just be broken. Like, I would love to see Mr. P back in the meta. A hypercharged Mr. P porter, like, that would be alpha. But for now, he's going to be in the D tier 100%. Next, we got Sprout. Sprout, very similar to Tick, is just kind of a good thrower in bounty and knockout, and that's about it. The hypercharge is pretty useless. Some people thought that the hypercharge could be good on Heist because it could shred the safe, but like, who's really playing Sprout on Heist when you have Daryls and Melodies and Trains? Like, I don't know. There's just too much aggro stuff in any other mode to play Sprout, so you have to stay in bounty or knockout. Next up, we got Byron, and Byron is going to be in the A tier. Byron is a very good support brawler. The star powers are very strong. The gadgets are very strong. I have no idea what a Byron hypercharge can be, because the thing about these brawlers is hypercharges are all connected to the super. So like, what could Byron's hypercharge actually really be? I don't know, but I guess we're going to find out soon. Byron's just a very strong brawler. Good range, good heals, good damage, good star powers, good gadgets. Can play Byron in about every single mode besides Heist, but you can even play Byron in Heist to like heal a Colette or something. Then we got Squeak. Squeak is pretty close to a D tier brawler, but Squeak is going to survive very slightly in the C tier because his Squeak slow has a lot of value. But that's about it. You can make Squeak work in Hot Zone for sure. Maybe even Brawl Ball and Gem Grab, but that's definitely about it. Now we're going to go to the S tier, and I know Lou is at the end of my S tier, but he's about as close to an S+ tier brawler as you're going to find in Brawl Stars. Again, I know I've probably said this 5 times already, but top 3 hypercharge in the game 100%. One of the best supers in the game. Absolutely dominates Hot Zone and Brawl Ball. Lou can work in Gem Grab as well, but like, just run Lou in Brawl Ball and Hot Zone, and you are guaranteed probably to get all the way up to 1,000 trophies. Then we got Ruffs, and Ruffs is pretty close to the D tier as well. The only thing letting Ruff survive is the fact that that hypercharge treat that he has can be given to a teammate. Like, Ruffs isn't good, but you can help out your teammate a lot, and I mean, I guess that's something, right? So it's going to keep him out of the D tier, but if that hypercharge treat did not exist, he would be a D tier brawler because he just does not do enough in this current meta right now. Next up, we got Buzz. Buzz the GOAT, but Buzz unfortunately is going to be in the B tier. The hypercharge is just goated. Like, Buzz hypercharge is so clean, and it feels like he's slowly making a return to the meta for I don't know what reason, but it's not like he's high up in the meta. At the very most, he's a B tier brawler, which is even a stretch. He could definitely be put in the C tier, but he's very good as long as you're not facing something that can stun him. So if you're facing, let's say, Grom, Lola, Amber, as long as you're hitting your grapples, there's nothing that team can do. You're really only losing with Buzz if you have bad matchups, but there are a lot of bad Buzz matchups, so I'd be careful where you play him. Next up, we got Fang. Fang's going to be in the C tier. Fang's just not a very good assassin right now. Mortis is way better. Edgar is way better. Shade is way better. There's just way better assassins than Fang right now. You can definitely make Fang work, especially at low level, but he's just not cutting it right now. Then we got Eve all the way up in the A tier. I know, pretty crazy, but that hypercharge that Eve has is absolutely sick. unless you have an Amber or a Penny splashing those shots and basically taking out the entire hypercharge, it's instant positioning, and it just raises your chance to win by so much if you have that Eve hypercharge on the ground. So Eve is going to be A tier for sure. Just a very annoying brawler to go against. Definitely A tier. Then we got Janet coming up. Wow, again, I'm going to say it, top 3 hypercharge in the game. S tier brawler 100%. Janet's hypercharge is a game-changing hypercharge. Like, you fly above people's heads, you do 2,000 a drop. It's absolutely insane. Then you drop on their foreheads, you hit a couple shots, and you just win the game. Like, it's unreal. Also, what I really love about Janet is you can just plop one of her gadgets down, that turret that just does a little bit of damage. And it's not like you're supposed to be doing damage with that turret. It's the fact that you're supposed to stop your opponent's healing, and it obviously goes through walls and has a lot of range. So Janet's very strong right now. I love Janet in the meta. Easy S tier. Next up, Otis. Otis is going to sneak into the A tier. Probably the lowest A tier brawler I have right now, but definitely A tier still. The mute is very strong. He does a lot of damage as long as you can hit the shots, and he's very good in Brawl Ball, Gem Grab, and Hot Zone. So props to Otis. You have made it somehow to the A tier. Then we have Buster, my poor Buster. We're waiting so long for your hypercharge. Buster is one of my favorite brawlers in the game. They need to give my boy a hypercharge. He's good on Brawl Ball. He's good on Gem Grab. He's good on Hot Zone. He can even be played in Knockout, where you just sit until the end and wait for that shield. Like, Buster just so badly needs a hyper. And when Buster gets that hyper, he's going to be S tier. I'm telling you guys. The shield is so strong. The pull gadget is so strong. We're just waiting for that hyper. But for now, Buster is going to be B tier. Gray has snuck into the A tier because of that hypercharge. So originally, when we saw the clips from Brawl Talk, we didn't think Gray's hyper was going to be that good until we realized you can have 2 different teleports down at the same time. And once you realize that, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, Gray's definitely broken. And it's not the fact that the brawler itself is so broken. It's just the fact that you have 3 teammates constantly teleporting around on 2 different teleports. Like, how can you even keep track of that? Unless you have the perfect comp, you're probably going to lose. So easy A tier for Gray. And right beside Gray is his little buddy RT. Again, one of the best brawlers in the game, 100%. Insane on Knockout, insane on Bounty, and more people are using RT with the little legs and using the other gadget instead of the gadget that like confirms kills. And when you're using RT in that way, you can play RT in Hot Zone, you can play RT in Brawl Ball, you can play RT in Gem Grab. RT is just such a versatile brawler, very high skill, very hard to use, but if you know how to properly use RT, bro is broken. Now we're going to go from the A tier down to C and talk about Willow. Willow is just kind of in a weird spot where Larry is just so good. Juju is so good. Barley's hyper is so good. Barry's heals are so good. Tick and Sprout are just better in Bounty and Hot Zone, even Grom. And then you just have Willow. Like, Willow's good as an anti-tank because once you have that super, no Mortis can dash up to you. No Primo can jump on you. Like, you're kind of safe. It just feels like you're not doing enough damage ever with Willow. I feel like Willow just needs a little bit of a buff, and then she's going to be right back in the meta. But for now, she's going to be C tier for me. Then we got Doug. I mean, my boy Doug, just like the fish, he's just a goofy brawler, bro. Like, he is just a goofy brawler. He's going to be in the D tier. Supercell, Brawl Stars, Adrian, whoever I got to ask, Frank, Supercell, Kairos time. Like, don't buff Doug, please. Nobody wants to deal with that. After Doug, we got Chuck, and Chuck is going to be in the C tier. For every brawler that's only good on one mode, but very good on that one mode, I'm keeping them in the C tier. We have Shelly with Brawl Ball, Primo with Brawl Ball, Bo with Gem Grab, and now Chuck in Heist. I mean, you can only really play Chuck on Heist. I know some people will be like, oh, you can play him in Gem Grab, you can play him in Hot Zone. Like, I get it. You can play any brawler anywhere. It doesn't mean that they're good. He is definitely just good on Heist, and he's not even good on every Heist map. So 100% a C tier brawler. Then we got Charlie in the D tier. I don't know why it just seems like there's so many bad Mythic brawlers, but Charlie's going to be a D tier brawler. I don't know. They just like kind of killed Charlie. She's just a far worse version than Tara, and I hope Charlie does get a little bit of a buff because I do actually like playing Charlie. Then we have Miko. Miko's going to be at the bottom of the C tier because his ammo is just like non-existent. You basically get 3-4 jumps and then you have 0 ammo for anything else. Like, the jump super is really good because you just come crashing down from the sky and can kill just about anyone. but it's just the fact that you can't really do more than 3 or 4 hops at a time that makes Miko a C tier brawler in my eyes. Then we got Melody. I didn't mean to put her in the B tier before. She's definitely an A tier brawler. She is the best heist brawler in the game. She is good on hot zone. She is good on gem grab and usable in Brawl Ball, especially if you're making a TikTok clip. So, I mean, Melody's just insane. I only have good things to say about Melody. The only part that sucks about Melody is it takes 5 hits to get super. So outside of that, Melody is very good. Only weakness is the range and the hits it takes to get super. Then we got Lily in the C tier. Lily's just a weird brawler. She's definitely very good when it comes to like killing a Piper or killing a Bee or a Byron or something like that. But you're not normally playing Lily on maps where there are too many snipers and throwers. You're normally playing Lily on Brawl Ball or, I don't know, Gem Grab or Hot Zone. And there's a lot of high HP in those modes. So unfortunately, Lily's going to be stuck in the C tier for now. Then we have the Crab. Guys, since that Crab nerf, literally nobody has played Bro. Like, Bro is hard stuck D tier. He is not good. And I didn't love facing Clancy, but I mean, it's better, like, I'd rather face Clancy than just have him non-existent in the game. Like, he definitely needs some type of buff. Then we have Mo. Mo is going to be low C tier, but to be honest, he's actually not that bad. Like, most of the brawlers in the game are usable. Like, Fang is low C tier. Squeak is low C tier. Those are usable brawlers. So is Mo. Mo is, Mo, once you get that super, you can definitely make a play. The issue is it just takes so long to get that super. It seems like you can already lose before you get that super, and that's why I don't like Mo. Then we got our next S+ tier brawler in Juju. Juju is just so strong, it's unbelievable. She's basically a better Larry right now, but only because her gadget is so strong. Like, I'm just such a fan of the fact that the water shot has a slow, the grass shot shoots further, the normal shot is more damage. And it's the same thing with her gadget. The grass makes her invisible, the water makes her faster. Normal ground gives Juju a shield. Like, I just love the design of Juju. I'm such a big fan. And Juju's bot kind of reminds me of Larry's bot, which is why Juju's good into like tanks and mid-range brawlers too, unlike typical throwers, because they can just kind of deal with everything somehow. And then finally we have Ollie. Ollie came out like 2 days ago. At first I thought Ollie was going to be a D tier brawler. Now I think Ollie's a C tier brawler. You can definitely make some plays happen, but definitely on the weaker side for sure. Probably going to need a little bit more time until we fully understand how good Ollie actually is. And finally, we have legendary brawlers for you guys. Starting off with Spike. Spike's going to be in the B tier. He actually kind of came back in the meta a little bit. I had him in my C tier in my last tier list, but he's a little bit better right now. Probably because we're seeing a little bit more tanks and mid-range brawlers. But he's still a little bit underwhelming. His mythic gear is very strong and his hypercharge is very strong, but that's honestly about it. Crow is also going to be in the B tier, the 2 OG legendaries. I mean, they're technically both balanced, which I guess is good. I only really ever run Crow if I'm playing Heist and I want to get that hypercharge off on safe. Besides that, I basically don't play Crow at all, but you're obviously able to play him in Hot Zone and Brawl Ball 100%. Then we have Leon. Leon is going to be a C tier brawler. I know he's very strong at low level where people don't know that Leon can go invisible and spawn on your forehead. His star powers are honestly pretty good, and so is his hypercharge. He's just too inconsistent and too useless without his super, so I can't give him more credit than the C tier for now. I would like to see a little buff to him for sure. We have Sandy, who is going to be a high S tier brawler. Again, I've said it so many times. Sandy's just so good on Brawl Ball, so good on Gem Grab, and it's really only those 2 modes, but that's all Sandy needs to be an S tier brawler. The stun goal in Brawl Ball is insane, and also insane to stop like a Daryl rolling at you or an Edgar jumping on you or something like that. The Sandy super is insane, and wow, again, I'll say it, top 3 hypercharge in the game. Next up, S+ tier Amber. I sometimes get some people telling me that Amber isn't S+ tier, but I don't think they play the game. I don't think they understand that Amber is good into literally everything. It could be a tank, it could be a mid-range, it could be a thrower. I mean, Amber's not the greatest into throwers. It could be a sniper. Amber's not the greatest into sniper. But the thing is, Amber is just good into basically everything, or good enough into basically everything that you can make her work. With her spinny gadget, she can do 50% to the high safe in like 5 seconds. In Hot Zone, she's usually just way too much to deal with. In Brawl Ball, also way too much to deal with. In Gem Grab, also way too much to deal with. Can burn grass, can do anything. Now, obviously, Amber's not good on bounty or on knockout, but just don't pick Amber there, and she's good everywhere. Then we got Meg. Meg's going to be a C tier brawler. I don't know why they changed Meg so much and just basically made her that like original mutation version of Meg. I guess because they really wanted to dumb her down, but I don't know. Definitely a C tier brawler. Not the strongest right now and probably needs a tiny damage buff, but then she could be back very easily. Then we have Surge. Surge is going to be in the A tier. Surge is like one of the strongest anti-tanks in the game. We all know this. Very strong on gem grab, hot zone, and of course Brawl Ball. I would definitely stick to Brawl Ball with Surge. He's one of the best Brawl Ball brawlers in the history of the game. Chester's up next. Chester is going to be in the B tier. Chester actually does a lot of damage. I love that balance change where they made that singular Chester shot do 2k damage, because it made basically every Chester shot dangerous, and I'm just a big fan of what they did there. I love Chester as he is right now, perfectly balanced as he should be. Right above Chester, you guys can see Cord also in the B tier. He's probably the best brawler that we have in the B tier, along with Belle, Mortis, and Cat. And Cord could easily be an A tier brawler, but I'm going to have him in the B tier because I think it's a little bit too specific for when he's good, because it's not like he's just good into tanks. He's not very strong into Ash. He's not very strong into Frank. And it's not like he's just good into every thrower. He's not that strong into Barry. He's not that strong into Larry. And I don't know. I think Cord is pretty balanced. It's just very brawler dependent with Cord. Then we have Kit the Cat. If Juan Carlos is playing him, we know where Kit goes. But honestly, Kit is a very strong brawler. B tier. We don't talk about Showdown. If we did, obviously Kit would be a lot higher. But Kit is going to be a middle of the pack B tier brawler. A lot better if you have teammates to play with. I know not everyone does, so he's going to be B tier. Draco up next. Draco's going to be an A tier brawler. One of the best hot zone brawlers in the game. And honestly, I'm very curious for what Draco's hypercharge can be, because that could honestly break the game. He's just such a disturbance in hot zone. He just clears way too much space, does way too much work. And that gadget that keeps him alive on 1 HP is so strong. And then finally, we have Kenji. Kenji is going to be the bottom of my S tier. He's a little bit of a high skill brawler, but he's very, very, very good on hot zone, gem grab, and even Brawl Ball. So we're going to keep him in the S tier, but you can't play him on any other mode, so make sure you don't. But the fact that he just dashes around and kind of similar to Draco, just takes up so much attention and time is very, very, very annoying to go up against. And that's going to be it for my tier list. So if you guys enjoyed, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I'm hoping there's going to be a balance change soon. So this is probably going to be my final tier list until the next one. But until then, I will catch you guys later.